And Rusty?
Salvation, perfect and complete, asks but a little wish that what is true be true. A little willingness to overlook what is not there. A little sigh that speaks for heaven has a preference to this world, that death and desolation seem to rule. In joyous answer will creation rise within you to replace the world you see with heaven, holy, perfect, and complete. What is forgiveness but a willingness that truth be true? What can remain unhealed and broken from a unity which holds all things within itself? There is no sin, and every miracle is possible the instant that the Son of God perceives his wishes and the will of God are one.
Yeah, so a miracle is possible. The instant the Son of God perceives, he wishes to see the truth of what his brother is, the way he was created. And that makes your will one with God. Because now we're saying, I want to reclaim our shared inheritance, our shared innocence. Do not want to believe that by attacking the guilt in another, I'm safe. So what is the will of God?
How's that like, say, well, I've been watching the political channel, and I somehow have a challenge of, okay, listening to both sides of the issue and not making a judgment on when somebody doesn't think exactly as I do, to not judge them, to not attack them in my mind. Do you know what I mean? When
It upsets you that they have a different opinion? When you say
yes, I
it's
want
not-
everybody to think like I do. Honest.
Because
But I mean,
you're wondering, well, some form of fear of guilt is coming up in your mind.
well, actually what it is that and I think this is kind of crazy. I'll look at our opponents and I will have a judgment in my mind for how negative they are and how dirty they are and how, I really think they're under
Political arguments.
But yeah, but even in thinking that, it's like, I'm
You're
holding
hearing
a
upset.
judgment of them being judging. I mean, it's like a catch.
Yeah, so the
22.
goal is to
really
say,
need
I
to-
want, the goal is to ask the Holy Spirit to show you. You cannot change what they're doing. There have been lying, underhanded, ego-initiated pursuits. Whether, I'm not defining that what you see is that, but that's what you think it is, and you're thinking something like that deserves punishment. But the Holy Spirit has another perspective on when we're deceived about who we are, and think we need to be in control, or we're not safe. We will play every trick in the book to be in control, because we're afraid of not being in control. So when you know that that's what you'll do when you're afraid, then you understand. It doesn't mean you say that's not an error. It's an error to do that, but you don't have any sense of condemnation and attack. You just understand they're afraid. They think if they're not in control, the world's going to fall apart. Or let's say they think if they're not in control, they're not going to get what they need to survive the way they want to survive. We always have reasons why we do the things we do. But usually it's to maintain some source of control rather than have faith in our brother and have faith in God. We take charge and then play all the dirty tricks to be the one in charge. I mean, that's all that's going on. But that's just so ego. It's just so ego that when you really get that's what's going on, you don't have to be upset. But you don't pretend that someone is in an error. See the difference?
Yeah.
And what's the next step, which takes more Holy Spirit help, is to have faith that their control will never stop the plan of God. It's never going to stop. The ego cannot, like what we read earlier, there are not two opposing forces working against each other. There are not two opposing powers, God and evil, working against each other, which is what we've come to believe. There's only God. This other stuff is an illusion of power, and it doesn't have any. It's not going to change anything.
But that's like saying the same thing if, when you're in a place of peace and then you think, then the ego comes in and say, how can you be at peace when the whole country's at war? You know, it's like, it's the same thing, but slowly I think you get that when you're in that place, everything else is okay too.
Yeah, because again, anything but truth is an illusion. So he says, remember that one of the lessons is that war is not really there. That's an illusion.
I thought that's what the whole process of this was about, was when we're, and I kind of got it with, like, if I want a healing to come to someone else, that the only thing I really have to work with is what is going on in my own mind. And that the healing and forgiveness work that I do in my own mind will help to bring about a healing out there.
Which is a shift in perception, yeah.
But the only thing that I can work with is what
My own shift.
I got to work with.
But when I was listening to a tape, what I heard Robert say was, when I have a brother in front of me, I need to listen to his problem. Well, not listen, he didn't say that. He said, what I need to do is turn that problem over to the Holy Spirit. My brother's problem that's in front of me.
Yeah, so you know the appropriate response, so you can be a channel for healing, because only the Holy Spirit is the healer and the therapist for anyone. And we can learn to do that. We can learn to ask for what exactly, in fact, that's what being miracle workers is all about. Exactly what am I needing to think here for this person? Exactly what am I needing to say or not say? Exactly what am I needing to do to help the situation?
So you turn his problem
Yeah.
over to the Holy Spirit.
Yes. When you're not, see, the whole goal here is to get your mind so purified by this undoing process that you can go around and start helping other people with their problems. You know, in the beginning, we have so much upset, we have so much attack, that there's not really a lot of time to be helping you. I gotta be attacking you or I'm not safe. But as we go on, you see, then you're freed up, your time is freed up, because you're not using this. So now,
Oh, I see the difference.
yeah, but this is a journey. He says, miracles are everyone's right mean, being able to go out and help. But first purification is necessary. Well, what are we being purified of? Our own attack on ourselves. How can we go help someone else stop their attack on them when we're still attacking them and ourselves? So first, that's the first step, and it takes time to get calm enough, faith-filled enough, miracle-minded enough that you can take on other people's problems now. Because you've taken on your own, and so you have a sense of how to do it. And it's still not easy to take on other people's problems, because they bring up still, in fact, it's part of the journey, I think, because they bring up the stuff that's latent in you that you still haven't dealt with. They help trigger it, so now you can do it for both of you. But in the beginning, at least my experience was, I was too busy working on my stuff to be paying a lot of attention to anyone but my own attack thoughts, But that is definitely, that's what's so exciting. He says this is a promise. We have this power to help heal the sonship by healing ourselves and then following the guidance to be where we need to be, doing what we need to do, saying what we're supposed to say, and obviously making mistakes all along the way.
Yeah.
But walking at least in the right direction, out of the dream rather than in. And that's a big deal, right?